That's when you're waiting. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I'm excited to have this young gentleman on the show with me. It's Michael Moore, Michael L. Moore. He's a local attorney. He's also on the board of governors here at the Citrus Club with me, a fellow board member. He's our vice chair and going to be chairman next year. That's my goal anyway. I hope so. Welcome, Michael. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Ted. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's part of our Citrus Club Black History Month initiative. And so we're bringing on board members. We want to get their insights, maybe talk a little bit or a lot about Black History Month. But we also like origin story, which I told Michael before we went live that that's super important to you guys and to me. So give us a little 411. You obviously didn't have, you didn't come out of the womb and go, I want to be a lawyer. So tell us, maybe you did. I don't know. Some people correct me and say, I've always known I wanted to. But tell us about you.
I'm born and raised in Orlando.
Awesome.
I grew up during the 60s. So that meant that I went to 4 different elementary schools.
Wow.
So at the end of each school year, because integration was going on, the big thing at the end of the year was kids would gather and go, where are you going to school next year? Right? Because we were all assigned to something different until the school board got it right.
Wow.
So I went to Grand Avenue, Holden Street, Blankner, and Hillcrest, all of those schools.
You went to all of them?
I sure did, every single year. I made new friends every year.
Well, Well, people are going to get to know you. Of course, you made new friends every year. But what that was still, you remember that. I love that that's the first thing you talk about, because that's obviously a memory that's imprinted on you.
It is. And it's because I had primarily fantastic teachers and role models, too. Taught us a lot about not only being Black, but growing up in the 60s and how to conduct yourself. And the most important thing, which I heard at home every day, of course, from my mom and dad, was get your education.
Yes.
No one can take that from you.
No.
So I come from a family with 6 children, 4 girls, 2 boys. I'm the youngest.
Oh, you're the baby.
Yes.
That explains so much. I'm just kidding.
But my parents instilled in me and my siblings about education. But, some people listen and some don't. But I certainly listened and ultimately went to Jones High, where my mom went to school.
Awesome.
And historic Jones High School, right?
Yes.
And again, having leaders there and teachers that are legends. James Wilson, who was the director of the band.
Yes.
I had the pleasure and honor of being in the band. I was in the color guard. And as you know, Jones High's band is the best
they are known
in the
for
land.
being the best.
They are fantastic. It was a privilege being in that band for the 3 years that I attended Jones High School.
That's awesome.
Made some lifelong friends as well.
Of course.
And of course, after leaving Jones High School, I attended Florida State University.
Good for you.
Where I had a fantastic opportunity to be on the debate team and traveled around the country.
Did you always know, would your parents say, oh, I understand why he got into being an attorney and debate?
Well, not only watching Perry Mason, but you will know, I grew up and went to school at went to church at Shiloh Baptist Church here on Terry and Jackson. But in that church were a bunch of African-American superstars. Arthur Pappy Kennedy, who was the first city council member here in Orlando. Emerson Thompson, who was appointed, I believe, by Reuben Askew to the bench. He was the first Black judge, I believe.
Reuben Askew, you're bringing out some older names.
I have a really good long-term memory, Ted. And also Belvin Perry, who was the first chief judge here in Orange County as well. All great role models. But in addition to that, when I was 10 years old, my brother was killed. He was stabbed right in the Paramore area.
Sorry, I did not
So, I immediately thought, I am not going to end up this way. And said, what can I do to really bring justice to everybody I touch? And that's why I became a lawyer, primarily because I wanted to help people. And that's what I've been doing for the last 31 years.
Wow. I don't do any research. It's all right. It's everybody knows as watches the show. Thank you for sharing that. I did not know that. It's always fascinating to me, the motivation. And there almost always is either something happened to you that guided you that way, or something motivated you, positive or negative. And I love that you took that and ran with it. Now, what kind of law do you practice?
Well, people typically ask me what type of lawyer I am, and I usually say a good one.
I'm going to remember that.
I do business law primarily, although over the years I have practiced entertainment law. So I'm going to give some names to you that you'll recognize. Have you ever heard of a group called the Quad City DJs? Come on, Ride This Train.
Yes.
They had the title track, The Space Jams, the movie.
Yes.
Well, I represented those gentlemen for a number of years, went to the Grammy Awards, went to the Soul Train Awards with them.
Nice.
They were very talented guys. I also have represented a young lady who is a superstar right now, Danae Benton.
Nice.
She's in The Gilded Age on
Yeah.
HBO. Please watch her. She is a game changer.
She's amazing.
She's
I just started
fantastic.
watching that show.
She's fantastic.
It's a great show.
She really is. So Sandra Lewis is a local
She's amazing
entertainer
too.
who's been on The Voice, as you know.
Yes.
She's fantastic as well. But the list goes on and on. It really is nice.
What does
It's
that
just kind of
change?
fun.
What's the perspective when you are, because entertainment, that's such a different world. If you've never stepped into it, I always joke with my kids, I'm a local celebrity just to aggravate them. But for real celebrities like you're talking about, people who are really in entertainment, does that just creates a different world? I mean, you just said that you went to the Grammys with those. I actually thought you were going to say you performed with them. That was where I thought you were going. But that's a different perspective. Their worlds are different, right? Well, they're different than what we experience.
Yeah, they are because, just by way of example, at the Grammy Awards, you see so many people who are trying to get into the event as well. So, of course, when you come outside, you see tons and tons of people just calling their names. And I'm standing right next to Babyface,
Wow.
right? And people are calling his name. I'm like, oh, did you say my Babyface? But maybe not, right?
Right.
But Diana Ross, just so many people. Will Smith, just rubbing elbows with all those guys. And it was all a fantastic opportunity for me.
It's awesome.
It is a different perspective, though.
It's different, right?
Mhm.
Tell me about, let's go back a little bit to your upbringing here, because it's very rare to find an Orlando native. My wife was born here too, but you experienced it through obviously a different lens. Tell us a little bit about how that's changed. Do you feel like Orlando is a different, better place than it was? Have we made the progress that everyone says we have as far as race relations, DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion?
You know what? Having grown up here, I've seen Orlando evolve. So let me give you some examples. Jerry Demings was the first Black police chief appointed by, I believe, Glenda Hood.
Yes.
And then ultimately his wife was the first African-American female chief of police. Now, obviously, earlier in the years 60s, 70s, you wouldn't have seen that.
No.
Bill Jennings used to be a member of this Citrus Club Board of Governors. He was the first African-American director of the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority, and a dear friend of mine, was a wonderful man. So Orlando's evolved to the extent that it is, it's obviously more diverse now, as you know.
Yes.
And so that means new opportunities are being created for every single person that moves here. And we want to help with that.
That's right.
Yeah.
What are you involved with that helps with that? Obviously, we have we've got some initiatives here at Citrus Club because we are I feel like we're the downtown hub. We need to be sort of that representation, which we talked about before we went live, and really reach out to our community. But you also do a lot in the community. What are some of the things? What are some of the projects that you feel like need to get more attention and are helping with the progress?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I've been a mentor at Jones High School for many students who are interested in the law. And as you know, Florida A&M University has a law school here.
Yes.
I have allowed graduates from that school, at least in their third year, to come to my law firm and clerk.
Nice.
And African-American students primarily, but each and every one of those individuals have gone on to become excellent lawyers. So I've done that mentally, mentored them personally. And then I sit on the advisory board for the Paralegal Studies program at Valencia. And she'll appreciate this when I say it, but I hired a graduate 21 years ago, and she's still working for me, a graduate of that program. That tells you not only about the quality of that program, but how smart and excellent she is too. She's the best I've ever worked with.
Amazing.
Mhm.
See, I think that's a lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
That's
And so we can all talk about DE&I, we can all talk about improvements and progress, but I feel like if you are just talking about it and you're not rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty and really trying to help move it along, then you're missing out. And so there's a lot of talk. Let's get a little more action. Let's talk about Black History Month. That's why we're here. I ask all of the guests that have come on this month, do you celebrate it? And if you do, what do you do to celebrate Black History Month?
Ted, it's important to note that Black history is celebrated, at least in my household, every single day.
Yeah.
It really is. So we celebrate it throughout the year. It's not just 1 month, although it brings attention to the rest of the world, right? To the rest of the country, that there have been some fantastic accomplishments in entertainment and politics and inventing. It's just amazing. My wife and I were just watching last night a show called, I think, Bookmark, and with Black voices, where they have famous Black artists read books. Sometimes it's the author as well, but they have great messages. For example, what is race and how children deal with race relations.
Yeah. this.
Pretty interesting.
It's fascinating to me because I think Black History Month, and I've brought it up every guest that's here, so I'm going to ask you the same thing. People who aren't Black I feel like they don't understand sometimes, and they're afraid to ask the questions. Well, why is there a month? Why is it important? Why should we have a Black History Month? How would you answer that?
It's interesting because I read something recently, and I think it was by Carter Woodson, who established what was called back then Negro History Week. That was in 1916.
Wow.
Yeah. So at any rate, he said, if you do not pay attention and preserve your history, your race is doomed to extinction at some point. And it's a variation on what he said, but that's exactly what he said. But that's important to teach everyone about the accomplishments and the significance that Black people have contributed to our history. We've invented things. The red light. There's a Black gentleman who created that. The ironing board was improved upon by a Black female. There have been medical related medicines that have been improved upon and created too. It's just amazing. Even the first burglar alarm was created by a Black female.
I think if you do a little bit of research, and I think people have a fear of asking questions. Anytime I do a show where I feel like we are talking about a group being disenfranchised or minimized, it's always an interesting thing. People will say, gosh, you asked questions. I wish I would ask questions. And what do you say to people like that? Like, if they don't understand Black History Month, as a black man, would you welcome them to ask you, and I'm talking about kind people, ask questions, ask you the why? How do you respond to that? I think people have a fear and they don't want to ask specific questions. They don't want to seem, they don't want to offend, and they don't want to seem uneducated.
Well, first of all, Black history is American history, right? Because of the significant contributions that African Americans have made. And it's okay to ask questions. That's the only way people can continue the dialogue. Great. To ask, right? Why it's significant and why you celebrate it. Because again, if we forget where we've come from, we might be doomed to repeat some of those things.
We don't want to do that.
That's exactly right. Right?
Right.
So very important.
So as we wrap up, we're gonna do one little word association. When I say the word hero to you, who's the first person that comes to mind?
My father.
I love that. Tell me why.
My father was a cement finisher, and he poured a lot of concrete around town. And I used to go to work with him from time to time because my mom said, "Can you take Michael outside? He's bugging me."
She had enough. You were number 6. She'd had enough. She was tired.
So, by the way, my father played Negro League baseball in Ozark, Alabama as well. So, and I'm a big sports fan. So at any rate, we were at one of the construction sites, and he said, "What do you want to do one day?" I said, "I'm going to do this. This is neat." And this was after I had stuck a garden hose, or what they were using, into the ground, and it got stuck. And he says, "Go sit down over there." Go sit down. But at any rate, I said, "I want to do this." He says, "Nope." He said, "You are pretty smart, and you should wear a suit and tie one day and go downtown and work somewhere and make a difference in people's lives." And he repeated that over and over through the years. And he never wanted me to do what he did, but he wanted a better life for me and for all of my siblings as well. So my father's number one.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. All right, Michael, how do they find you? How can they learn more about what you do and what you're involved with, and how can they reach out to you?
I don't do social media.
No, he does not. You all will notice.
I really don't. I was teasing with someone earlier. I said, "I don't advertise." I don't. But because I'm from Orlando, quite honestly, it's word of mouth. And I've been so successful over the last 31 years because people know me. So if you want to find me through the Florida Bar Association, you can just do that and look for Michael Lynn Moore.
Thank you so much for being on the show, my friend. I love the work that you're doing here at the club. I'm super excited for leadership this year and next year when you are chair of the board. I think it's so important for us to continue the progress, and you and Ava right now are leading that charge, and we really appreciate you. All right, y'all, reach out, mlmmoore.law.com, or you can just go to Florida Bar and Google Michael Lynn Moore. Thanks so much for being on the show. We'll see you guys soon. We'll be back later on. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.